Greetings, this is Sensei Kurt reporting to you live from the Tesla charging stations here in a non-disclosed location as I take another road trip. I'd like to talk to you about one of my favorite topics to talk to people about because there is so much ignorance and so much misunderstanding based on our good old friend Al Gore. Al Gore's little movie, Inconvenient Truth, and all these different movies that he had were forced upon children for the last 25, 30 years about climate change and how it's real and how it's our fault. I've seen them all. I was a school teacher. I've seen them actually in airplanes. I've flown over to Europe, and there's Earth in the Balance. Al Gore. It's everywhere. But he will not debate a soul. You know that, right? Al Gore is totally pushing an agenda, and he's getting very rich off it, and it's completely false. That is man-made global warming, or as I like to say, anthropogenic global warming or climate change. Now, let me just say this on the onset. No one believes in climate change more than me, not even Al Gore. I believe it way more than him because I've studied it. I've studied it in depth. I studied the ice ages. I studied geology, which is specifically in the area of the ice ages and so forth. We've had 3 major ice ages in recorded history. We had the Roman warming period, of course, and we had the medieval warming periods that came after those mini ice ages, but we had the Great Ice Age. That Great Ice Age, we had people writing about it, talking about it. Now, there wasn't a whole lot to do during those times. They were just basically trying to survive. But let me illustrate it this way. I have right here in my hand 2,500 pennies. It's about 15 pounds of pennies, a big pack. Now, let's imagine this to be our atmosphere, okay? This is our atmosphere. Now, atmosphere is comprised of primarily 2 major gases: oxygen, 21%, nitrogen, 78%, and a little less than 1% of argon, which is inert. Then that little itty bitty left, that little sliver of nothing, is carbon dioxide. Now, this is what we are at carbon dioxide right now. Carbon dioxide levels are currently at 400 parts per million. That's right, 400 parts per million. Now, that's 400, which would be over 1 million. That's 400 over 1 million, which is equal to, if you reduce it down to 1 over 2,500. So this 2,500 penny pack right here is our atmosphere again. And that little penny right here, that's how much carbon dioxide we have in the atmosphere currently right now. So you're trying to tell me that this little penny is driving climate? Oh, I've had people say, oh, well, you understand it. That if you drop a little drop of cyanide in your drinking water, you can die. It can kill you. A little bit can do a lot of damage. Well, that's in a biological sense. Yeah, if you have a living thing, it has to have a certain balance of things. Yeah, cyanide could kill you. Let's just say this. What about a physical thing like a car? It runs on thermodynamics. It is absolutely impossible for this penny to thermodynamically influence this to the point where it drives climate up and down like a knob. It doesn't do it. You raise it up a couple notches. Oh no, we're going to go up. You know, it's crazy. They have made up a complete false science. First of all, carbon dioxide never has, or can it drive climate? On this planet right now, it is too minute, too trace, and we only contribute, believe it or not, of that penny right there, 4%. Humans produce 4%. Let me illustrate it that way. If I have this silver dollar right here, that means I would have to have 4 pennies to do what I would call 4%. So these 4 pennies right here in my hand is our contribution to this dollar if we had $2,500. All right? And this would be carbon dioxide, and the big bucket of silver dollars, 2,500 of them, would equal the whole environment, and this would be the carbon dioxide levels. Utter and complete and total nonsense. Thermodynamically, it's impossible. Now, what does drive climate? Well, water vapor does. It's a greenhouse gas too, and there's a lot more of it. There is so much more water vapor out there that it pales what's left with carbon dioxide, which doesn't do anything. By the way, carbon dioxide doesn't hold heat very long. Matter of fact, when I was talking to this professor friend of mine, he said, well, you have to understand that carbon dioxide and methane are powerful gases. Powerful. It's like, okay, I should have kept pursuing the questioning because I didn't want to dominate the conversation because it wasn't my conversation to begin with, but I should have jumped in and said, well, how powerful is it? Can you give us an example? Well, it turns out I did a little research on my own, and yeah, carbon dioxide holds heat for just a few seconds. You can do an experiment. If right now I'm over here in Santa Rosa or wherever I am, and the sun rolls over the top of me, and then a moon steps in its way and creates a solar eclipse, that shadow cast right there, the temperature drops about 15 degrees almost all the time. For example, in Colorado, in August of 2017, the solar eclipse went over America, and I had a friend of mine there, and he said it was t-shirt weather. And he was outside waiting for the solar eclipse, comes over, it dropped in temperature. They had to go and get a jacket. It was that cold, that quick. It went from 80 degrees to 65 degrees like that. So that's a real problem. Carbon dioxide is not just trace. It doesn't hold heat very long at all, a couple seconds, 3 seconds. So we got some problems there. Water vapor is a far more abundant greenhouse gas and far more effective. That's why you put water in your sauna, to create water vapor to hold the heat so you have a better sauna experience. Just heating up the air is one thing. Put the water in. Now you got something to hold the heat. So carbon dioxide, a colorless, odorless, tasteless gas necessary for all living things. Every plant needs it. Matter of fact, the more of it we have, the better the plants are. That's why we pump in carbon dioxide into greenhouses to get a quicker crop, a more abundant crop, and we use less water. Those are the 3 benefits of pumping in carbon dioxide. You get a faster crop, more of it, and you use less water to begin with. So it's a win for everybody. Carbon dioxide is not a poison. It is not pollution. These idiots, these fools that are pushing these agendas on these children, and even our politicians in Washington, D.C. and over here in California, utter and complete total morons. Gavin Newsom doesn't have a clue. He's blaming the fires on climate change while people are lighting them. It's an arsonist thing, right? Oh, it had lightning strikes too. But the point is, carbon dioxide is a colorless, odorless, tasteless gas necessary for all living things, and every plant loves it. It's plant food. The more of it, the better off we are. So, what have you learned? Well, carbon dioxide, A, there's not much of it. B, it doesn't drive climate. C, it only holds heat for a few seconds. And if you really want to enjoy a sauna, put water vapor inside the sauna and you'll be far better off than trying to pump in more carbon dioxide. Because it has to be activated by, solar. It has to be activated by the sun. That's how it vibrates. That's how it creates and holds the heat, just for a few seconds. But anyway, I hope you understand this is hopefully a challenge to you to look things up. Don't just believe the climate change activists. Like I say, no one believes in climate change more than me, not even Al Gore. Because I know climate change is real, but it's not man-made. It can't be man-made. We can do things like seed clouds and that sort of thing, geoengineering they call it. But that's not climate change on a global level. They're trying to blame us, humans, for other things that aren't our fault, and they're going to try to capitalize on the fear and ignorance of people. So, put your thinking caps on, folks, and do a little more research on your own rather than believing all the silly things they tell you. Take care and have a great day.